Have you ever had an experience where you have stopped something prematurely and it was a form of self-sabotage? Now, there is a difference between listening to our ego, who is keeping us safe, keeping us small, protecting us from the unfamiliar, from what we don't know, and our intuitive guidance, which is allowing us to move forward in alignment. And this means it's the path of least resistance. It might not feel easy. That doesn't mean the path of least resistance, that it means it's easy. It may still be a challenge. It may still mean you are feeling like you're moving beyond your boundaries. Yet it is that state internally where you're not going to feel the internal pressure or the judgment. So I'm going to explain a little bit of a recent experience that I had and what my insights around this were, because it seems to be a continuous pattern that has happened in my life where in the past I would self-sabotage. And very recently, yesterday, I had the experience where I shifted the information and I moved forward in alignment. So when we listen to others, first and foremost, it is always an invitation to get still within and feel, does this feel true for me? Sometimes when we hear other people give us advice or what they think might be good for us, or even when we're asking for help from others, or even simply sharing what is going on in our own lives, they will have their own projections, their own feelings about the situation, and they will share them with us, especially if they're friends, if they're close with us, and especially if they're friends that we trust really dearly. Sometimes we may go ahead and just do what they say because it's an easy out. And we have to realize in these moments that we are not them, they are not us. Yes, we are mirrors and reflections for each other. However, my goals, my life, my alignment looks different than someone else's alignment and goals and life path. So it's really important to get so strong within your own being, meaning that you are able to discern what feels right for you and what is theirs, right? To be able to separate those two. By all means, yes, we can take in the information and what they share with us, and then it's up to us to filter it through our own internal guidance system and really know, is this the right thing for me? There have been so many times in my past where, say I started a workout program and I was, this is my tendency. So let me share this first. My tendency is to get very strict with myself, and I'm leaving behind the perfectionism, right? Part of me showing up on these daily YouTube videos was to keep showing up and not worrying about what I'm talking about, just allow it to flow, and letting go of that perfectionism that it had to look a certain way or be a certain way. So typically in my past, I would come up with some kind of formula or structure to work within, whether it be a workout program, a way that I was going to start, incorporating new habits in my life. And it would be so strict that I would feel like folding, right? So I've learned over time to let go of that aspect of it. However, there have been moments in the past where something that was truly aligned for me to do, I was doing, and because there was something else in my life slightly out of alignment, and that's where the tweaking was required, and because that wasn't shifted, I was feeling that this overwhelm about this one commitment that I was doing. So let me give you an example. So I love getting up at 4 a.m. to do my Kundalini yoga and meditation practice. I love it. It is a power time to do practices. The world is quiet, my mind is still, and it's a lot to do with the state that our mind is in at that time when we wake up as well. It is easier to get into that state of deep meditation. So, I had been doing my practice for a very, very long time. And once I was like having this experience where I was not going to bed early enough to sustain this 4 a.m. So it was like I was being burnt out. I was feeling like it was too much and whatever. And it was just like burning the candle at both ends. And then hearing the feedback that it's okay, just let go of the 4 a.m. Like no one does that, right? Like I don't even know if it works even at that time as much as it matters to do it like at this time or that time. And I can say yes, a practice anytime is better than no practice at all. And I've played with times of doing my practice, so a lot of experimentation around that. However, I've had this experience where I have quit things prematurely, so such as this 4 a.m. practice where I fell off the wagon, right, of what felt like it was alignment for me. And really what was required was, yes, I received the feedback, just quit the 4 a.m.s. Like it's like, not to say that somebody told me it was ridiculous, but when it's not something they have done or experienced and they're giving feedback about it, it's really difficult for them to understand what the benefits are for me and why it is aligned for me in my life, right? So I have had moments where hearing the feedback, it's like I just took it on like, yeah, that's right. Like I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop doing it at that time. Meanwhile, if I really looked at my life and the structure, what was happening, if I could simply shift going to bed earlier, it would have accommodated my 4 a.m. wake ups, right? So you see the difference. I could have stayed in that alignment because it felt so good to be up at that time doing the practice. I loved it. To know that I loved it and I felt so much joy around it, that's showing me that when I'm lit up and I have no issues waking up, I have the issue going to bed because I'm typically in the past, retrained myself or trained myself to be a night owl, to be up all the time, right? So it's letting go of that old habit to support the new habit. So fast forward to now, I've been doing these YouTube videos as a practice similar to my meditation practice that I do daily. And it was a way of me showing up in a bigger capacity. It is a way of me getting out of my own way and speaking and sharing all the stuff that was coming through me that I was not sharing. And so I initially committed to the month of October because I heard my intuition say, go all in October. Show up every day, do a YouTube video. So I answered the call of my spirit. I did it. And as I was doing it and it was unfolding, it was effortless. I felt really in flow. It felt amazing. And I had no resistance. I showed up, I did my video, and it was always a different time. I really didn't find yet a structure within it to do it at a particular time of day. So I was loose within that and I was working within my schedule because my day fluctuates with my schedule as well, with my clients and teachings and things like this. So as I was going about midway through, I was like, okay, you know what? 40 days creates a new habit in your consciousness. And this is the principles we work with in Kundalini Yoga when we do a meditation practice or a breathwork practice or a mantra practice or a yoga set to create a specific result or benefit in the body. And so because I know this from practicing it for so many years, doing practices either in 40-day increments, 90-day, or 120 days, I know what it feels like to go that long of a consistent daily practice, doing the same thing every day and really showing up for myself and committing to myself. So about midway through October, I heard the clear guidance, 40 days. I can do 40 days. So I went on to do 40 days and it felt amazing. And then I felt like, okay, I've done 40 days. I'm going to go for 120 days because 120 days, you become the new habit. It's like second nature now. And so that was my new dedication. And if I look back from where that dedication came from, it came from an unknowingness of, like, it was not a clear cut guidance that I usually get from my intuition. It was simply because I didn't know yet what was next. So I kept going and I kept going. And at first it was okay. I was like, okay, I'm still showing up. This is exciting. And then a little bit of time passed. And then suddenly I started feeling like, okay, this feels a little harder now. And so at first I was like, am I bumping up against resistance, right? So I like to observe and just see what I'm feeling, right? Observe and just keep accepting where I'm at and then moving forward with whatever the next aligned action is. So over the last few days, I've noticed that all of my YouTube videos were meditations. And when I show up and I do a meditation, it is usually, not always, but especially if I'm doing so many in a row, it is usually the easiest thing for me to do when I don't have a huge amount of capacity to share, because teaching meditation feels like a second nature thing to me. I absolutely love it, and it's easy for me to actually show up and do it, as opposed to showing up and speaking and allowing my channel to flow through, right? So I was noticing this kind of track record of, okay, I did a meditation, did another meditation, and I kept leaving it to like the end of the night, and then it was getting later. And then I had the full moon meditation that just passed in Gemini, and I decided to do my first like premiere. I was just gonna have everybody show up at a certain time or watch the replay and just host it right at that time. So very interesting how full moons are also a time of letting go of what is no longer in alignment, what is no longer serving us. Because after doing that, I was observing within myself how much I felt I was overextending myself. And if you think about it, right, a daily YouTube video for me, this is what I was experiencing, is that I didn't have any days off. I didn't have this space to relax. And it wasn't about the YouTube videos alone. What was happening was, last week I was offered a business opportunity, and I have teamed with the mental wellness company Amare, and now I am selling products because they worked so well for me. So happy juice, happy hormones, and I'm like so lit up about this. So this whole new business opportunity, it feels like it just divinely fell in my lap because I was guided to start taking happy juice, and almost 2 months ago, it completely has changed my life in how I feel and how I show up in my energy levels and all of this. So all of a sudden this happens, and I'm like, okay, now I have this new business opportunity. And of course, this past weekend was Black Friday weekend, and there was a sale, and this is the first time I put it out. And all of a sudden I was working all weekend long, having conversations. And I loved it. I enjoyed it. I had fun. And my YouTube videos were getting put to the very end of the day. And then it was like, oh, I still have a video to do. And when I have that feeling, I still have to do this video. It's not coming from a place of, I get to do this video, right? It's a different feeling. So interesting enough, I had someone reach out and just say, have you done any cool videos lately? And I had said, actually, I do daily videos on YouTube. I post a new one every day. And they said, oh, I'm behind. And so I was like, oh, that's an interesting response. I'm behind. 2 days later, my brother reached out to me, John Cosmic, that's my brother. So my brother reached out to me and he said, you know, you've been talking a lot about wanting to start this like weight training program, and maybe it would be good to let go of some of your YouTube videos, you know, maybe do 3 a week. And then it's like you'll make space for other things that are happening in your life and the other things that you want to start incorporating in. And, you know, this year seems like a lot about that for me, a lot of restructuring, redirecting, finding flow within the structure, and as I am expanding into new levels of leadership, how am I creating my new schedule? Like, how does the schedule now actually look for me? And it will continue to shift and change, and it will for everybody as we grow. This is how we evolve. This is how we shift and we change. We move with it and we become adaptable. So, how adaptable can I be now that I have a new business opportunity? I want to start incorporating other things in my life, and I'm still showing up to do these YouTube videos. So, I took in what my brother said to me. And he said 3, and I could feel this, like, it wasn't a tension, but it didn't feel aligned. I was like, okay. And I'm like, okay, that just means it's not the time to make the decision, because I felt a little bit of a uncertainty there. So then I spoke with my best friend about it. I shared, the feedback that I got twice about, because he even said, this was the other thing. He said to me, he said, when you post every day and then it's like I get behind, I kind of am just like, okay, like now I'm way behind, And so I got my kitty's here again. I got 2 feedbacks of the same thing about being behind. And I'm like, that's not a very good feeling. And I know and I understand that not everyone's going to have that experience, and not everyone wants to watch every single video that I'm posting. So again, it's meant like when you're aligned, when you're guided to come here and watch a video, you come and watch a video. Yet I'm receiving this feedback about being behind. So my friend said the same thing. Maybe, you could do your videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I was like, okay, now this is twice, hearing it 3 times, 3 times a week. And I do love the idea of the extra freedom and the space between videos. I do love it. And I required some stillness. I required some pause and insight before I could make a decision. So the very next day, which was after the full moon, and it was Tuesday. So after the full moon, I was meditating, and all of a sudden I heard Tuesday to Saturday. Do your videos Tuesday to Saturday. And so this is the thing. I have decided my new schedule is Tuesday to Saturday. So this was already been my schedule for work for the past little while, because I'm going in alignment with the planetary energies. Monday is a moon day. Sunday has always been kind of that family day that I take to be with my family. So Monday is a moon day. It's a reflective day. I like to really just take that time for myself. And so that was the guidance. Show up Tuesday to Saturday. And so this is what I'm doing now. I've allowed the other input to come in. I received whatever insight I required to kind of go back inward and discern even more. Does this feel right? Is this information correct for me and in alignment with me? And I left the rest, right? So I received the information that was helping me to get to that next decision, to that next step. And I allowed myself to decide for myself from that stillness within. And I could have stayed in the mind state about it and worried about it or thought about it. And, this was a past experience that I've had many, many times, where it's like debating in my mind. I don't know, but if I give it up, then what if this happens? And what if I fall off the wagon altogether? And, I could have come up with so many reasons why not to, or why to let go of my videos on a daily basis. And I chose not to do that this time. I chose to hear what I heard from the outside as the mirror, as the reflection, and then to go in and discern and wait for the message. And so this is the invitation, because remember that when we listen to the outside world and we don't bring it through our own internal guidance system, we may choose something that is not in alignment, and it's okay. We can always redirect, we can always shift and adjust and adapt. However, there are those moments where we receive information and we go along with it because we don't yet have that refined intuition, and we don't actually trust our own guidance. as well. So there's that other layer that can be uncovered where am I trusting myself enough to listen to the guidance that I receive in those quiet moments when it's coming through? And usually when we go against our own guidance, we are in that state of self-sabotage. And so the other layer of this that is interesting is that, as we kind of unfold and release, a lot of people say the layers of the onion, right? I like to say like the flower, petal by petal, we're opening and releasing layers of ourself and letting go of what's not serving us, and then turning into that full blossoming of our own authenticity of who we're here to be. So what I can say is that another layer was evolving and emerging for me, because yesterday was Tuesday. Yesterday was the day. This is how out of time I feel today and almost every day these days. Because I'm like, wait a minute, yesterday was the day that I made the decision. Yesterday was the day that I had the intuition. Yesterday was the day after the full moon. And today is only Wednesday, and I, for some reason, as I'm doing this video, I thought it was already Thursday. So that being said, yesterday would have been the new commitment I made to myself for now, because that might change in a week. I really don't know. There's so many moving parts in life right now. It's my only job to be in alignment and still enough to know what's next. So yesterday was Tuesday. So with this new commitment, Tuesday to Saturday would mean that I keep going from Tuesday to Saturday, and then I finally take that day off on Sunday. Yesterday was one of the busiest days I've had in a very long time. And also with this new Amare, the wellness company endeavor that I took on over the weekend, I really didn't have any time off, and I felt into it yesterday. And I said, is this okay that I take today off from doing a YouTube video? And know that I trust myself enough that I will show up on Wednesday. It's not an all or nothing, because that's another part of the story of self-sabotage. Well, my new commitment's Tuesday to Saturday, and I didn't show up on Tuesday, so I guess I can not show up on Wednesday. And then that starts leading to, like, the wheel. And then we're like, okay, now I haven't showed up in a week. Now I haven't showed up in 2 weeks. Ooh, it's been a month. I fell off the wagon, right? So really getting into that space of self-trust, and what's required to be in that space of listening to the inner knowing and responding to that guidance is a relaxed nervous system. It is to be so relaxed in your own being that you are available to receive. You're not being pulled out by the outside world, what other people are saying to you, what other people think you should be doing. You're not being pulled out by your own thought processes from the past running you. And a lot of these thought processes have been planted into our physical body because they're muscle memory now. So we're used to doing the same things over and over and over again, because our body responds to our thoughts and our thoughts respond to our body. And so in order to create lasting change, our mind requires strength. Our mind requires clarity. And in order to get into that state of clarity, it is necessary that our body is in that relaxed state. Otherwise, we are living up here. And in order to get to that state, we must come into here. Move the energy, meditate, breathe, go out in nature, whatever it is. Take a bath, rest more. By all means, rest more. It's been such a conditioning that rest is not a good thing in the world. And this is an old paradigm. When we rest, we truly create space for more. So yesterday I took my rest. I didn't show up. I didn't do a video, and I feel fine. I didn't feel any guilt. I didn't feel any shame, not for one moment. And that is so new for me. So I wanted to come on here, share this story, Little bit I want to celebrate because I'm like, yay, another layer, right? Because we're all here on this path doing the journey together. We're all walking each other home, and it is such a beautiful thing. So if you have a story to share, please share it because you never know who you will help, right? So thank you so much for joining me in this video today. And if it was helpful, I'd love for you to click on the like button and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and you want to hear more content like this. So as you know, I will still be here from Tuesday to Saturday in Eastern time zone, and until it evolves and unfolds in another way and I get messages to do something different. So also, if you are wanting to get more refined in your intuition and more clarity in your life, if you are looking for support, I offer coaching packages where I work one-on-one and we go really deep into letting go of everything that's stopping you from getting into that state of clear guidance. And also, if you are a leader, stepping into that next level and expanded version of leadership. So I will post below a link to book a clarity call with me if this is something that you feel called to, and it's complimentary, and we will discuss where you're at, where you want to go, what your goals are, and we will figure out a way in that one call of how to move you through to that next level. Again, thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you next time.